I'm excited for this one.
Thanks for having me on, my friend. Much appreciated the invite. I'm looking forward to this. I've been waiting for this, a couple of weeks now? We've set this up, maybe a month ago.
Yeah, we've been ready to rumble for a while and been connected on Instagram for a very long time because you're one of the OGs of the fitness industry. I would say some people don't realize that because you've had periods away from creating, but you've been around for such a long time. Like probably one of the original guys on Instagram, but before that, Facebook as well.
Yeah. So first I started on Facebook, like it's called like a fan page, but it's called a like page, and then Instagram came across, and it was always it was just one of the people that got on it early, I guess.
I think that side of the world though was quite early adopters because we had Ziz, didn't we? Although maybe you guys pronounce it Ziz. He was like one of the original guys, and I kind of associate you with that era to some extent as well because of your friendship with Jespera as well.
Yeah, he's the same. We're both 89, so the same year we were born. So that sort of phase of us growing up through social media and fitness kind of happened at the same time. So we just kind of born into it. Really, it's just a timing thing more than anything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I think that I look at that era as the kind of one of the most innocent times when it came to like fitness content because you guys were just creating not for sponsorships or fame, but just because you guys had sick physiques, you had this enthusiasm for training and for life, and obviously partying came with that as well. And it definitely inspired a lot of young guys, didn't it?
Yeah, man. I think actually, Tam, I'm at my friend Tam's place now, right? Do you remember when I made the Facebook page? You were with me. Yeah. I made that page. I went to a festival. This one, Tam, jump in, right? So Tam will tell you the story. That's my best mate.
We've got two guests now. Here we go.
Hey, right, Tam. Chuck that in, right? Can you? So he's in the UK, and we're doing. He's like, can you hear that?
Hang on, wrong side.
Is that connected? Say something, Cam.
Hello.
Yeah, loud and clear.
So Tam's like, I've known Tam since I've been 18, my best mate. And he's talking about like Johnny Starr and how it all started and that. But you actually like, she was like my first like on Facebook, bro, back in the day. Do you remember?
I remember. I was his number one fan. First like.
So
OG.
We made the, what happened was I went to a festival, I was shredded, and then people were lining up to take photos with me. I'm like, this is fucking cool. And then we had a back shot. I'm like, oh, I'll make a like page and I'll call it Johnny Starr. I'm like, should I do it? And you're like, yeah, just do it. And we did it. I still remember you at my place when we did it.
I remember you working out what your name would be.
Yeah.
And you're like, I've got it, Star.
That was it, because I did some other stuff with the name through real estate. So Tam was there when it started, and we just started it as a bit of fun. I was just literally putting up content about being shredded and just gym. You know, there was no intent to monetize it. Neverhome hadn't started. That was like a progression later on. And then, yeah, Tam's seen the whole thing progress over the years. It's pretty funny.
It's pretty amazing.
So it's been pretty cool. So this is my best mate where it started back in the day.
I love it,
I'm at
Johnny.
her place now, just kicking back. Thanks for that. You're going to get featured in it. How cool is that?
So cool.
It's just coincidence that it happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, Johnny. But a lot of people see the photos now, and even from that era when you were first creating of this amazing physique. But let's go back to young Johnny when you were in high school, getting asked to do press ups for the first time. I believe is when the kind of the thing ticked in your mind that you want to build a physique.
Yeah, that's it. So it was year 7 PE class. We had to do push-ups. I could do one guy could do 10, and all the girls were like, "Ooh, look at him." I'm like, "Fuck this. I need to start doing push-ups." So I started doing push-ups that night, and then I progressed, started working out. And then I'm like, wow, having a good body is pretty cool. And I was seeing changes. I must have been like 13 or 14 when I started doing push-ups. And it progressed from there, man. I worked at Macca's. And then with my first Macca's paycheck, I bought a bench press from year 12, like a couple years older. It cost me $100, I remember. It's a lot of money back then. And I put that bench press in my parents' garage. And I didn't know, but I bench pressed every single night, flat and incline after school. And I started like getting this good chest, and I was like, fuck, this is pretty cool. And that was what started me with the training. But back then, it's dial-up internet, bro. There's magazines showing my age. So these kids now with social media, you can learn so much quickly. That's why the physiques are so much more advanced now. But and everyone talks about gear and they learn about supplements. But back in the day, it was trial and error.
Agreed. What kind of sources were you consuming? Simply Shredded, that kind of stuff?
No, before that, it was, man, Simply Shredded was one of the first pages where I'd read about people's diets and training. Bodybuilding.com a little bit there, random articles. I think there's a thing called T Nation.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then I just get DVDs of like the Olympias training and stuff. But man, it was kind of just getting in the gym and figuring it out yourself. So we didn't really know what we were doing, but we just knew to fucking train hard. And there was no advice on diet back then. So I was buying protein powders from GNC, whatever there was. And then one of the guys said, just eat. So I was just eating as much as I could. And I kind of just grew at the same time and advanced from there.
Yeah. And were you forming like friendships through the gym as well? Because I understand that anyone that listens to this will understand fitness can sometimes be quite a lonely pursuit if you decide to make a massive change to your body. But it seemed like there was quite a big community around that time where you guys were all chasing like this peak physique together.
Yeah, so we all wanted to be in shape. So all the, like, I don't know if it's a generational thing, but we didn't have mobile phones. So boys from two different high schools, there was two local high schools, we meet in McDonald's after school, and then we catch the bus to the gym, about 10 of us, and we'd all train together. It's a group of 10 of us boys that would go to the gym every day after school, and we go train, and then I might come back and work my Macca's shift. So I'd be going to school, then going to the gym, then coming back and working Macca's from like 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. and then going back to school. So it was a non-stop thing, but we had to get the money to fund the supplements and saving up for our first cars back then. So we were just trying to make money to buy the food and, we'd taken burgers to school. We had no idea. Dude, if I knew what I knew now, going back when I was that age, oh my God, I'd be a freak. That's why I'm only getting some good progress in the last, couple of years.
Yeah, good progress relative to what you're setting the standard at though, Johnny. I think that's the important thing. But that initial like innocence and passion for training and the willingness to put so much towards it. Like I remember when I first started training through rugby, I would like cycle like 45 minutes to the gym, or like I'd like beg my mum and dad for a lift sometimes. And it doesn't come easy, but if you have that initial passion, you sometimes just work through stuff that you would probably never do now. Now, while you live this intense lifestyle now with your real estate career and the training around it, it's a lot easier than when you were like going to school all day, catching a bus to train, to then come back and work a shift in Macca's. Like the things that you do for like passions that you love at that age, they can sometimes be instructive of what you're going to find your passion in later on in life too.
Very well said. My parents never took me to the gym once in my whole life to this day. Never dropped me off, never picked me up. I made my own way. I figured it out every single day. Rain, hail, or shine. I'd catch a bus or ride the push bike. But I'd get to the gym, man. It was a non-negotiable for me as a kid. And, you kind of build an identity too. So I was known as a kid that worked out at high school. So I was always, taking my top off in class and showing my abs and flexing and shit. I rock up to class, bro. I don't know where my confidence came from, but when you get a body, you get confident. I rock up to class. I'll be like, all right, who's got the tickets? They're like, what? I'm like, to the gun show. I had like this, I still got small arms. I just say stupid shit like that. But when you get a rig, you have it has a rippling effect on your confidence, and it's been good with my work too. So like, it's going off topic, but if you can get in good shape from a young age, you'll be better with every aspect of life. And it teaches you time management and teaches you discipline too. So it's not just about being in shape, but it has so many benefits,
Yeah, that's got a lot going off in my head. And I've spoken before on the podcast about fitness almost being like a bit of a gateway drug to self-improvement and self-development. And I don't know if you've noticed this trend over the last couple of years, but I saw a meme the other day that really spoke to me. It was like the nerd sitting in his basement, like desperate for the next Netflix blockbuster to come out so he can watch it. And it was the gym bro, like chiseled jaw, good shape, reading philosophy and stoicism. I think that's where we've gone. Like guys that are like into self-improvement for their body have become so interested in like reading or audiobooks or podcasts and developing beyond that. And I truly think that when you can like get a level of mastery over your body, it quite often leads into other areas as well. So for me, I work in a sales career similar to yourself, not real estate, but when I'm like on point with my fitness and my health, like I perform as a better business development professional because of that, like the habits and the mindset that I've got through one area transfers into others.
It's a rippling effect, bro. Couldn't have said any better. Teaches you systems too, right? With your meal prep. And then those systems, like they roll over to my real estate, everything, bro. It's all systemized now, and you kind of figure out ways to be efficient. Even I always got gym clothes in my car. Lucky I've got my own clothing line, but man, that shit's ready to go. I can do a workout instantly anywhere. I'll just go train. If I can fit it in, I'll train it because, you know, life's busy. But there's no fucking around having to go home, take this day. Just have it ready and you just go train when you can, because you have to get the workouts in. Otherwise, if you're not consistent, man, you're not in shape. It's as simple as that.
Agreed. It's funny how McDonald's played such a big role in you purchasing your first bench press and kind of progressing with your fitness career, because I know that's one of the ways that you opened up your real estate career, because when you were working at McDonald's, you met Claude. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Jeez, man, you've done your research. Holy shit. I'm impressed. Yeah, so far out. You even know his name? That's good. That's good. Yes, I worked at, I've been lucky. I don't know why, but I think of things and I'm able to manifest them and they come to fruition all the time because I have so much self-belief. So I was at uni and doing real estate, doing computer science. I fucking hated computer science, dude. I was like, what am I doing here? I'm surrounded by people that are not like-minded. I was going to uni, working out, skipping lectures, going bowling, playing Daytona. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? This is not cool. I want to train. I want to do sales. I like people. Anyway, so my parents were going to move house, and I saw these real estate agents, and I'm like, that looks pretty cool. Nice car, suit. Dad's like, you'd be good at that. Literally a couple of days later, I'm working drive-through, and I remember because I shouldn't have done this shift, but someone asked me to cover their shift. I'm like, oh, good. I was making $6 an hour. Then I'm like, cool, because I lost my license for speeding, so I wanted to make some extra money. And anyway, cut a long story short, this guy comes through, sick black Chrysler 300C with 22-inch chrome rims. He's wearing glasses, a 3-piece suit, immaculate, big ring on his finger. He comes through. I'm like, what do you do for work? He goes, I'm a real estate agent. I go, I want to get into real estate. He goes, do you? I'm like, yeah. He goes, what do you do? I'm like, I'm at uni. I fucking hate it. He goes, you got a license? I'm like, nah, but I'm getting it back soon. He goes, He goes, yeah, send me your resume. I'm like, oh, okay, what's a resume? I'm like 18. So I got his card and I ran back and saw it. Guys, like, this guy gave me his card for real estate. So that night I went home, finished work at 2 a.m., did clothes, did the wash up, went home, rode my push bike. I'm going to send this guy my resume. So I sent it to him at 5 in. I didn't hear from him. I'm like, what the fuck? He's gave me his card. I got to chase this shit up. So anyway, I rocked up to his work. I'm like, I'm in the area. Did you get my resume? He goes, oh, what are you doing here? I'm like, oh, you told me, send me your resume. I chased it hard. I went there twice. Third time I went, he goes, all right, we'll catch up. So we got a coffee. He said, I want to put an assistant on because I'm too busy and I'll turn you into a little me. I'm like, oh, it sounds good. Anything better than uni. So I had another couple interviews with some people in his office, and they said to me, and the question that got me the job in the end was, why do you think you'd be good in real estate? And I said, dude, I know nothing about houses, but I like people. And that's why he hired me. So he hired me. I worked for him for 7 years as a personal assistant. I dropped out of uni from the age of 18 to 25, and then I went out on my own. And then that's when shit started to happen for me. But it was like a 7-year apprenticeship of door knocking and cold calling and fucking letter drops and fuck ups.
But all the things that you had to do for Claude in terms of the door knocking, the letter drops, you were showing those qualities by following up on your resume, being like, mate, I sent you this. Like, you need to look at this. You need to hire me. And you showed that appetite, which he would be like, okay, well, I can direct this guy in the right area and really make something of him.
Well, that's right. And now, the reason I'm at Tam's house, I'm going to sell her house. It's a $4 million house in Kew, right? And that's why I was here, because I had to go through the paperwork. Look at this fucking thing, dude. And I was some kid working at Macca's. It's got city views. It's next to a monastery. That's why I'm here, because she's going to sell her house. Can I say that? See this place, right? That's my best friend. But this is if you look up Kew, it's one of the best parts of Melbourne.
Yep.
I have some kid freaking flipping burgers at Macca's. Look at this freaking place, right? Show you the tour. This kitchen. Look at Tam's
It's
house.
beautiful. Yeah.
So it's like this freaking fireplace outside, and that lights up too, eh?
Yeah.
Turn
You're
on,
getting
Sean.
warmed up for your presentation at some point, Johnny, when you're calling the auction.
I'm going to auction it anyway. So, but that was a slow burn of just manifestation, and now I'm here selling, $4 million properties in Kew next to Toorak. It's like the best part of Melbourne. But it's been a slow burn from flipping burgers, and people think it's all easy, and it takes time. This shit's not given to you. The physique, the real estate, even the clothing line. You got to put in the work, and people don't think it's happened. I'm 33, like I've done this for 15 years now. It takes
What were the
time.
biggest things you learned under Claude?
Oh, just negotiation skills. He taught me a lot, bro. It was really the soft skills that he taught me. So there's two types of IQ. There's two types of intelligence. There's EQ, emotional, and there's IQ. A lot of people have a high IQ, but they're freaking retarded to speak to, and they know everything, but they don't have any people skills. You have to have soft skills. So I really hone in on my soft skills and how I make you feel, or the viewer feel, how I can motivate someone emotionally. And you got to listen to the client. So he taught me to listen to people, and find out their problems and help them. Like, Tam, what's happened with your problems, like this situation before? We spoke. Anyway, you just help people. He taught me that it's not about me making a commission. It's about helping her move on to the next journey, or the client. And when you're client or customer focused, things kind of work better for you because people can sense it.
Yeah, I think you can sense that. And you've always had a reputation as a very nice guy, Johnny, but I know that sometimes you felt you've been taken advantage of, and I've heard you speak recently about trying to be a bit more selective of where you put your energy. How are you doing that now?
Yeah, so we're both nice people, Tam. I mean, it's just the way we've been brought up, our generation. But I think people can take advantage. I see my dad's a pastor of a church, right? So I see the best in people, but fuck, there's a lot of flogs out there, and people are trying to take advantage of you. I had to learn that the hard way, dude. And then you let people into your life that are just bad influences, and you can get down the wrong path. So how I've managed that is I just had to really grow up, learn to say no, which has been hard, and look after myself first, because if I'm not looking after myself, I'm really useless to nobody. I don't be a burden on my family or anyone else. I need to be self-sufficient and keep doing the things that make me happy, because if I'm happy, then I'm a good person on this earth. So, man, it came down a lot of reading, bro. Like, even to this day, when I do my 2 hours cardio a day, I listen to audiobooks. I'm going through 1 or 2 audiobooks a week, and Audible bills are racking up, but that's the
It's a
books that
worthwhile
change
investment, though, isn't it?
Well, you probably read heaps too, but the amount of books I've consumed in my life is not normal compared to I'm telling you now, I don't think many people have read as many books as me, who are working out and working full time. But that's what's helped me, bro.
It's about using that time as well. So when I'm driving or commuting, or I'm traveling on the train for work, or I'm out my walks, I'm consuming quality podcasts, I'm consuming audiobooks, and it definitely sharpens the mind. Whereas, yes, we all love to listen to a housey track and get psyched up, but I kind of save that for actually training. And the other times I'm trying to level up by using the time that I've got available to me to plug into really quality online mentors. And I know you're quite a big Jordan Peterson fan. I actually saw him recently in Glasgow. He did a live show. It was incredible to see him in the flesh. And am I right in saying that your screensaver for a little while was around being a monster? That's one of Jordan's famous lessons. What did you take from Jordan?
Man, that guy changed my life, So Jordan Peterson, I don't know how I stumbled across him, but I'm on his email list. I consume all his content, and he helped me get my fucking life together, bro, because he's like a dad that no one has. Like, I booked in to see him 26th of November. They're the tickets. Like, I don't know if you can see that, but he's coming to Melbourne, right? I've got the
Amazing.
tickets. Being a monster was just, I needed to take responsibility, especially when I went down heavy drug use. I was being irrational, and I had to pull myself out of that myself and learn the hard way. And it was kind of the content from Jordan that helped me with that. And even now with dealing with people or talking to you, I even think, what's this guy going to, what would he do? What would Jordan Peterson do? What would Jesus do? Or someone that you look up to. So 12 rules of life, or anything that he puts out, I try to consume and try to have an unbiased opinion on it, on anything,
Yeah,
You know what
definitely.
he says? And even like he'll say stuff like, man, half the time you could be wrong, like drop the ego and listen to someone else's opinion. So I really try and take it on board and see other people's side of things, because when you're young, I'm sure you've been like this too. You're set in your ways, but I'm trying to just have an open mind now and understand people a little bit more.
Undoubtedly. I think when it comes to being a monster as well, I think there's an element of he's speaking to a group of men who've been told that they're maybe like bad or not as worthy as they feel they should be. And when we're told by like almost a little bit of a father figure, embrace the fact that you're a man and that you're capable of doing terrible things. But the benefit is that you actually decide not to do those terrible things and you decide to do the good things, like helping your clients really well by focusing this unbridled energy that we have as men into training and nutrition and being like your best possible physical self. And I think there's power in knowing that you are capable of doing like things on a grand scale that are terrible. Yeah, exactly. But I've decided through my virtue that I'm not going to do that. And that's much better than some of the virtue signaling stuff that we see online. Instead, actually acting and behaving in line with our values is much more powerful.
100%, bro. You couldn't say any better. So yeah, the capability of you being a monster and just conserving that is awesome, because I could tear some shit up if I wanted to, but I don't need to. Same as
exactly.
you.
It doesn't need to happen. One of the first times that I became aware of you, Johnny, was when you were first involved in Gymshark back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like? 2014, something like that?
Yeah, I think 2014, Gymshark, saw them, I wrote to them, and they're like, yeah, cool, we'll get you on the team. They're like, send us a photo of you holding a spoon, I think. Might have been Ben. I'm like, cool. And then I was like, yep. So that was a big deal for me because I thought they were cool. And I was launching my brand then too. So Ben and Lewis came to my house in Melbourne when they did an expo, and I saw what they were doing, and their fucking drive, man. I'll tell you what, Ben and Lewis were just on another level with Gymshark, and being with them and seeing like what they were doing, I saw an insight to their drive and their passion is like, it was pretty cool. So I saw that from the early stages of that brand growing, and I thought, fuck, this is sick. And look at them now, like it's just unbelievable. They'll take over Nike the way they're going, potentially. So I'm trying to replicate that with my brand too. I see that as a massive inspiration, a Gymshark, especially Nike. But when two guys who you've known, who you get to meet, and they're just same as us, man. Just freaking driven. We work their asses off. And man, Ben, like I said, do you want to go party? Ben goes, we don't party, dude. We work. We don't go to 21st. We don't go to friends' birthdays. We're working every weekend, nonstop. We don't do shit. We fucking work on the brand. And I work for him. Non-stop, dude. Ben was working non-stop. I don't think people realize how hard Ben Francis worked at that brand, man. I've got so much respect for him. And he's so nice, dude. That guy treated me like a king, man. He deserves more than what he's got. And that's why he's richer than Ed Sheeran. Because he worked his ass off, dude. And he fucking found a passion in fitness. Who doesn't want to wear cool gym clothes? So I wear that shit with pride, my Gymshark outfit, and with my name on it. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So yeah, Gymshark, big props to that brand. One of the best brands ever.
That Lux tracksuit was iconic, wasn't it? That first one they brought out, the one that you've got with your name on it. It's like that. I think that changed the game, because before, bodybuilding clothing was like big baggy hoodies and like loose joggers that like your kind of Jay Cutlers or your Phil Heaths or your what's his name, Kai Green would be wearing, and that's cool. Like that's like heritage, and that's like what's cool in that space. But Gymshark spoke to the guys that probably weren't quite as as big as them, but wanted to bring like aesthetics, like that whole Ziz era, that kind of physique that you had that I looked up to when I was like, all right, okay, that's like muscular, but it's not like Olympia stage, like classic bodybuild. No, not classic bodybuild, like the kind of giant bodybuilders.
Absolutely, man. And that's where the influences took off because, man, you know why Gymshark blew up initially? Jeff Side, man. Jeff Side was the biggest deal in fitness, and he's a very good friend of mine. Man, that guy was blowing up the scene after Ziz, dude. You know, he was the it guy, and he wore Gymshark, and that's why influencers are so important. Jeff was wearing that shit, and I was like, "This is fun." And they had some good guys back then too. Their team was fucking the coolest, most shredded, intense guys that everyone looked up to, and I was a part of that, and I felt awesome because like, who didn't want to be part of the original Gymshark crew? You can't compete with what they did, what they created. The hype for that at the time was unmatched and will never be matched to this day. It can never be recreated what Gymshark did in the early days.
Do you remember Lex Griffin, the guy with the beard? Lex Griffin?
Man, he's awesome. Nice guy, yeah, bro.
He's been on my show, and we did a collab together for a suits company in the UK called Slaters, and we were speaking about like men's mental health and like productivity and happiness. And honestly, he was saying the pureness of that period in terms of, and I was saying it with you, Z's, Chessbra. You guys were just creating content because you love talking about fitness and helping people along the way. It just so happened that some sponsorships came off the back of it, some coaching or whatever else these guys diversified into. And it was such a pure era where guys were just sharing content because of their love of getting in shape and listening to big tunes and getting caffeinated in the gym. It was a really like cool time.
And I think that's why I got a bit of traction, bro. Because I still to this day, I just put out shit that I fucking like. You know, I work out, I try and inspire people. The message behind what I do is inspire the uninspired, bro. And you got to treat people right. When I was 16, I went to the gym and I saw this jack dude, probably like what I look like now. And I said to him, and I remember you listen to this story, right? Because this is why I treat people the way I do. I said to him, I want to be like you when I'm old. He goes, are you a poof? And he fucking looked at me like weird. I'm like, why would this guy say that? I'm trying to give him a compliment. And I'm like, I'll never speak to anyone like that. Like I was 16 at the time. Lucky I, wasn't too fragile. But you don't say that to a kid who just looks up to you. So now if kids come up to me, bro, I give them time, man. Give them a couple free shirts. We talk to them. Like they can't afford it. I'll just go, hey, just take the shirts. Pay me back when you make some money when you're older. It doesn't matter. But that's what it's about.
That's embodying inspire the uninspired, because like you say, if somebody come and says hello to you in the gym, they're like, Johnny, like, or maybe they don't know your name if they haven't followed you online, but they're like, oh man, you're in sick shape. Like, what should I do? For somebody to shut you down is just such a brutal thing. And that could have completely, not that it would happen to you, Johnny, because you're too resilient, but it could have derailed your love for the gym and for fitness. Whereas if you inspire one more person to pick up a barbell and start self-improving, then that's a nice return.
100%, dude. So, man, if we can, like, I see you're doing some good content too, man. Thanks for repping the clothes as well. But if we can help these new kids fucking, not be arrogant dickheads because they're in shape, and be good people, be in shape, be more confident and make the world a better place. That's what it's about. And promote health and fitness, like actual health and fitness. It's good, man.
Agreed. Those original Gymshark days, you didn't end up coming across to the Body Power Expo. What was happening during that period? Good
question, man. So when I was taking off, I got there's this thing called tall poppy syndrome, and I wasn't really aware. I was aware of it, but not to the extent. Man, my friends turned on me, bro. Like my trainer, the guy that helped me get fit. I guess he didn't like to see that because I was progressing rapidly, because I didn't give a fuck. I was putting out content and just doing shit. I did a bodybuilding show. So what happened was I was training, and then a guy referred me to this guy called, I won't mention his name, to train. So I went and saw him because I'd always have a coach or someone to guide me. He goes, you look good. We'll do a show in 10 weeks. I'm like, sick. Anyway, it was a natural bodybuilding show. I'm like 23, right? I don't know what's going on. I'd taken gear before. And he's like, just train for it. You'll be fine. I'm like, okay, cool. I just didn't even think. I just entered the show. Didn't take steroids for the show, by the way. So I was like 78 kilos. Did it naturally. But I take steroids in the past and whatever. So I came second in the show. Big deal. But because it was a natural show, and I didn't know at the time, I was fucking so dumb and naive. But you make mistakes, right? That was that's what they needed to kind of throw at me. So they started making like videos about me, and I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll brush it off. But then it's funny. I went to an expo and they pretended to be fans. If you look it up on YouTube, it's pretty funny.
I've actually seen this video.
It's a funny story. I'll tell you about this. And they want to get a photo. I'm like, yeah, cool, let's get a photo. And then they did a call out video, right? And they're like, Johnny Starr, you fake natty, you faggot or some shit. I'm like, yeah, I'm natty. Well, I just ran off. I'm like, why would they do this? It's fucking stupid. Anyway, that was a pretty viral video, right? Because people love that drama. And bro, that really hurt me. I actually had mentally got destroyed by that. I was so depressed that it threw me off big time. I'm like, fuck me. See, now with my mindset, I just would have spoken about it. Who gives a fuck? But back then I was young, I was 23. And, I launched my brand, did a big billboard. I was trying all these things. I'm like, fuck, people are tearing me down. I was suicidal, dude. I actually wanted to kill myself. It was really bad. So I didn't go to the UK. Ben had booked the flights and I'm like, bro, I can't go. I'm fucking depressed. I ended up in a psych ward, suicide. I had to get put in there. I hit rock bottom. I hit rock bottom a few times, but that was the first time I hit rock bottom. And dude, I just did not want to be around. I'm like, fuck me. Everyone's hating on me. I'm just all I've done is help people. I made a mistake, which I fucked up, but I should have owned up to it earlier. But when you're 20, I just wanted to hide and cry. And it's funny, the guy that did that video goes to my gym now, and we speak, we're going to train together to do back. He's got a really good back. He's actually a good bodybuilder. But man, I understand, right? So when I spoke about before understanding, man, when someone like me's taken off and you got a reason to burn them, you're going to do it because it's going to make you feel better. They don't want to see me do well. They want to see me fucking fail because it makes them feel better, right? And they'll do anything they can to not, because if I went to the UK, who knows what would have happened, But I didn't go, and I'm glad I didn't go too because it hardened me the fuck up. So that's what happened, dude. So it was the tormenting and bullying that I received that spiraled me downwards into the depths of depression. I was broken, bro. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, fuck. I don't want to be here.
I think it's so valuable the way that you can speak about it now, though, and understand what's happened, and equally that almost element of forgiveness for somebody that took such a big stab at you and a kind of a jibe at you, to be like, I actually understand why you did it. I don't appreciate you doing it, but I understand why, and I'm not gonna hold it against you for forever. And I think there's maybe some of your Christian principles come through from that.
Well, you got to forgive people. You can't hold a grudge. Then you just live life always being shitty. Dude, I'm killing it again. Look at me now. Life's great. Shit, people move on. Fuck it, So you got to get over that shit and move on. And you just grow up. Things move on. Shit happens, right? So it's just one of those things, right? You just grow up. A year goes past, 2 years. It's whatever. With time heals all wounds. So, man, I see this guy in the gym. Hopefully he watches this, and I forgive him, bro. Fuck. I feel sorry for the guy to have to do that. And, he loved bodybuilding. And there's some kid who's just out there fucking sponsored by Gymshark. I'm getting supplement sponsorships. I've never competed before. I'm out there. I don't give a fuck. I'm in shape. Fucking of course they're going to hate you, bro, because you're everything they want to be. You know what I mean?
We have tall poppy syndrome in the UK as well. It's
you got that too?
It's a phrase. It's very much associated with Australia and the UK. I've actually spoken to. Do you know Chris Williamson? I saw you shared his one of his clips with Joe Rogan on your story the other day. He's the host of the Modern Wisdom podcast. He's a really good guy. And I spoke to him about it, and he was saying to me that when he started his podcast, Modern Wisdom, he's now ended up on Joe Rogan, so he's kind of hit the peak of podcasting, hasn't he?
Wow.
But people were poking fun, being like, oh, why are you doing another podcast? Same for me. They were like, oh, there's enough podcasts out there. There's hundreds. Why are you doing that? But now it's grown to the extent it has because you just disregard the noise. And I prefer when somebody talks about tall poppy syndrome, I'm like, well, actually, I think a a rising tide raises all ships. So if I can be the tide raising, then all the ships will come with me. And I think there's a powerful lesson in that, and it links to inspired and uninspired. If you can be inspiring and behave in a wholesome, positive way, then people will come with you. And if the people that don't want to come with you, they don't need to. They can stay down there in the weeds.
That's exactly right, man. There's always going to be those people that are going to, because you know what a tall poppy is, right? They cut off the poppy heads. They don't want you to get ahead. You have to be on their level. You got to be the fucking crab in the bucket, not crawling out. Those crabs crawling out, they'll pull you back. You got to be on their level. You got to get out of that fucking matrix like everyone else, right? So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm trying to exit the matrix and go into another world of doing shit I want with my brand too, right? Like that's why I'm pushing Neverhome's fucking flying again. But if I didn't go through that shit and learn all these things, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. And I'm in such a good place now, bro. You got to hit rock bottom. Dude, it hardened me up, bro. So now shit doesn't stress me out so much. I don't mind training 3 times a day, tracking my food, lifting weights, doing this. It's fucking nothing when you hit rock bottom, when you've been in a psych ward, when you fucking try to commit to, you've been on the train tracks, ready to kill yourself. You don't give a fuck. You're not worried about
perspective. Yeah, it's perspective, isn't it? This feels easy. Like you're. It's almost like a privilege to get to do the hard things that people consider difficult, but you consider to be like, okay, well that's great compared to where I've been before.
Exactly right, bro. So that's exactly, you hit the nail on the head, dude. It's everything comes down to perspective when you're doing hard shit. I'm thinking, fuck, man, I'm doing 18-hour days at the moment, doing Neverhome, packing orders, doing my real estate, working out 3 times a day, food, all the bills, everything at home. I'm doing it all self-sufficient, suppliers, this and that, paying my staff, whatever. Dude, that's nothing compared to these kids overseas mining fucking diamonds for nothing in slave camps. Like, there is perspective. So I think of that shit, and that's what gets me through. So I don't want to complain, I don't want to be a complainer.
Yeah, definitely. It's all relative, isn't it? We live in like such a relatively easy time compared to our ancestors, but we don't really know it because we're kind of comparing ourselves to maybe like the perfect lives that we see on socials. And while obviously it's positive to share the good stuff on social media, everyone's only really going to share the relatively good stuff to some extent because we're not wired to share the real negative stuff. Like I know you had your breaks from social media as well, probably when you were at your darkest, because you just don't need that extra influence.
But dude, I'm going to change the subject for one sec. I'm privileged to go through that shit. I'm lucky that I've been through a few things. See, I got stabbed in the back of the head, dude. See that? I don't know if you see, I got stabbed here, right? When I got stabbed there.
Yep.
And I got stabbed in the chest, dude. So I got into a street fight, right? Dude, when you go through shit like this and people are trying to kill you, see there?
My God, yeah.
That's why I'm motivated because, dude, I could get fucking killed driving home from here and it's over. You don't know. So I'm just trying to do shit and be positive and motivated because, I've been close a few times, so I'm pretty motivated to just give it a crack.
Let's make the most of what you're doing now. Yeah, I feel that.
Just get rich or die trying.
We mentioned all the audiobooks that you're consuming, Johnny, and you've mentioned like so many different things that you've learned up until this point. Particularly, you talked about like understanding why people would maybe try and tear you down. What do you feel like you're still constantly working to learn?
Man, I always pray to stay humble. Especially lately, my real estate's taken off. I've been featured in the biggest newspapers lately, the last 2 weeks consecutively, and I need to stay really grounded. And it's got me a lot of business, like properties in these nice areas. People are calling me up, and I just got to play. My thing is just to stay grounded and keep sticking to my core beliefs of doing the right thing, because the ego can fuck you up, and pride. So what am I trying to do? Is that what you're saying? What am I trying to achieve? Like the next
What are you
steps?
still trying to work on? So like you said there, like you're always working to be humble. Like, so when you're listening to certain audiobooks, that you're probably picking ones that you're like, okay, that's got a title that can maybe teach me something about an area that I'm still
Well, I'll tell you,
develop.
There's a good book that I just listened to now. You might know him. I think he lives in the UK now, but I think he was an Aussie. His name's James Smith. Have you heard of him?
Yeah.
I just finished his book called How to Be Confident. All right. And I saw him like, you know, this guy?
Thanks to my family, friends,
bro,
academy members.
I just finished. That's the closing credits, right? I just finished that book, and I thought, fuck, to have confidence is unbelievable, dude. Because I go out on the street and I call auctions and I'm selling multi-million-dollar properties, right? You need to have a bit of confidence to do that. It's not an easy thing to do, right? But I've been blessed to be able to put in situations, or even this live, I couldn't give a fuck. I didn't even stress 1 second about doing this thing or a podcast. I don't care. I'm at that level now where it doesn't matter. I didn't care if I spoke live on national TV. I'll just be me. But to have that confidence, I want to try and teach people that too. So I think my next step is to be able to help people become what they want to be, bro. You know, I'm who I want to be now, and it's really good. Like, I'm so happy with where I'm at, and there's always things I want to improve on, but fuck, I'm living the dream, bro. Physique's good, great misses. I'm not stressed about cash. I work close to home. Got my own clothing brand. I figured out the food and nutrition. I'm inspiring people. People respect me. I'm not a fuckwit. I'm not flogging shit to make money and doing dodgy shit. It's all good, core, wholesome shit that I'm doing. And I feel great. And being happy is the main thing. So I think for me now, if I could just keep being happy and inspire people, it feels pretty good.
It's too good, noble intentions, isn't it? And if all your activities and habits and behaviors underpin those and work towards those, then it's a pretty aligned life.
Yeah, man. My coach, Scott, right? I got referred to him, Scott Sclaven, look him up. He's coaching people, like he's got a client for Abrizio. He's competing in the fucking Olympia this year. The Olympia, like that's the level of his clients. This is the guy I train with every day. My training partner, he's such a good coach that he's coaching people that are going to the Olympia, bro. Get that through your head, right? He doesn't charge me. I train with him. He just messaged me now, all right? He's the best coach in the world, easily. Legs tomorrow. See here? Legs tomorrow.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. How good's that? He will not train with people because he's too busy. He does online coaching. He's got 100 clients, whatever it is, and he's banked up. But you know why he trains with me? Because I went to him and I knew he was good. He wasn't doing online coaching. He was just training a couple of people in there, selling supplements. And I said to him, dude, you're so fucking good. You got to get yourself out there. I pushed him. Didn't want to be behind the camera. I said, let's do lives every Sunday and put out content. I don't get nothing out of it. I want to get him exposure and help people. We did that consistently for over a year, every Sunday. So I'm working 7 days a week, doing lives, answering questions, people sending the DMs, but we're helping people. Dude, now he's booked out. He can't even take on more clients. But I got him behind the camera. And now he helps me. I'm in shape. I got the best coach, does my blood work, does my gear, does my training, does everything. I get to train with him, training like a beast. That's why my physique's exponentially. Man, I reckon I could be Mr. Classic Physique in 5 years if I keep doing this. Like,
It's coming.
Truly believe.
I believe it.
I'm telling you, if I keep on this path, I'll be unbeatable with my genetics and my work ethic. I'm telling you, watch this. In 5 years, I'll be Mr. Olympia Classic Physique. Or close to it. I'm going for it, you know what I mean? But I believe it because I got the best coach and I can, afford the gear and do all the other shit. And I love it. So
where does your work ethic come from, Johnny? Where does the work ethic come from?
Oh, good question. My mum is a freak. She's from Fiji, this little poor village. She said to her brother one day, she's got like poor as shit, right? In this poor village. She said to her brother one day, I'm going to leave Fiji and get out of the country and marry a white man with a beard. And her brother whacked her on the face, cut her fucking face open and said, that'll never happen. Anyway, my mum manifested this shit. My dad was struggling to find himself. He ended up finding Jesus, God, going to church. And at that church, there was a lady that was my mum's auntie. She came over to do Bible study. And she said to my dad, you should write to my niece, who was my mum, This is like the old Facebook. She's really cute. So dad started writing to mum letters back in the day, like 35 years ago, writing love letters to each other. Anyway, dad's like, fuck, I'll go meet this chick. Met my mum in this little village. Mum said this to her brother, made it happen. I'm thinking, fuck, what the fuck? How's that possible? So then they got married. Mum left Fiji on her brother's birthday, said, fuck you, came to Australia, new country, started a new life with dad. They're still married together. And then I came along. What are the odds of that? Like, how is that possible, dude?
Tiny.
I should what the fuck? So I'm like, all right, this is weird. So I'm like, I've got to make the most of this. Like the fact that I'm alive and that cool story. And then you know what the odds are of just being born, right? It's crazy. Even you to be alive, you should be so grateful. Like, think about it. Your mum's blowing in your dad. Don't think of that. But at that one moment, and you're that one fucking cell that's made it, you know, and got to the embryo. Dude, think of that shit. Like, how is that possible? The amount of times your dad's blown and it's you that made it. Come on. So I think,
Amazing.
fuck, this is crazy, right? So I think, fuck, I've got to make the most of this shit. So I think of that.
Yeah.
That's the level I go to when I think of shit. It's fucking crazy, right? But
that's amazing to hear about your mum, Johnny. But I know you've got a really close relationship with your dad. He's probably your best friend, and he's helped you a lot when it's come to like money management and finances in recent years. Can you share a little bit around that?
Yeah. So good question. I used to have a bad spending problem with cocaine, and I probably spent over 300 grand on coke when I was an addict, like, because I was making some money in real estate, and then, man, I ended up selling this shit fucking just to supply my habit. And you never end up, when you're selling coke, you never make money. You're just feeding your own fucking addiction, right? Anyway, when I got figured out I need to stop this, I said to dad, all right, dad, I can't have access to the money, because if I get an 8-ball straight away, because I was hooked. So the strategy, and dad's like, because we openly talk about it, he's such, like, he'll watch this and be like, yeah, well, it's what's happened. So when I started making some commissions again, or things are happening with Neverhome, every dollar I made and still get to this day goes into an account where only my dad can access. And whenever I need money, I literally text him and he sends me what I need. And we've been doing this for a couple of years now, but it's allowed me to save money, live within my means. And that financial system that I've created myself with trust from my dad, because we're so transparent, has helped me get my life together. Because when you got financial burden and pressure on yourself, because you can make a lot of money, but you spend it all, and what's the point, you know? Or you're not investing it. And I was money illiterate, because no one teaches us this shit. They want us to be fucking cogs in the wheel and spend it all and work for the man. And no one teaches us this shit. So dad got me on like this guy called David Ramsey. Do you know Dave Ramsey?
No, tell me about him.
Just YouTube him, everyone now. Life-changing. One thing for this podcast, watch Dave Ramsey. He's a financial guy, a Christian financial guy. So I started watching that, started getting to the raw roots of what I'm spending money on. And, I only spend money on certain things that I think like food and pretty much bills. And the rest of it goes back into the business. And that's pretty much saved my life, because I was just wasting it on drugs at one stage. Now, I wouldn't do that now, but why change it if, the system's working for me, so I'm just going to stick to it, Dad's my best mate. Plus, he gives us a reason to talk. Hey, Dad.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm 33 and I still do that, bro. And I don't give a fuck. I'm happy to tell that to anyone, because it works for me. And I'm not perfect. I'm going to still, dude, I'll go buy stupid shoes, which I don't need. Or I'll go buy, you just waste it for this dopamine hit. I don't need it,
I think when you speak about learning from James Smith's confidence book, true confidence is being willing to discuss things like that and say, yeah, at 33, I have this system with my dad that works really well for me. You can judge me all you want, but it works well for me. And I'm the happiest I've ever been, because I have this system in place where financially I'm much more secure. I'm spending on things that are aligned with my values and how I want to live, rather than maybe chasing that immediate high and dopamine spike. And I think as guys that are into the gym, I think sometimes you can be predisposed to addictive behaviors as well. Because I certainly feel I'm addicted to exercise in some form. I'm addicted to pursuing a better physique. I'm addicted to hitting sales targets. I'm addicted to releasing podcasts on a weekly basis that I'm happy with. But they're all things that I'm kind of happy to be addicted to. Whereas I know if I turned my hand to maybe more nefarious things, that would be a disaster for me. So I love that you've got the confidence to speak about these things and give people maybe a bit of reassurance. It's not the norm, but it works perfectly for Johnny Starr, and Johnny Starr's the happiest ever been. So there's method in the madness.
100%, bro. Once you stop caring, I don't care what anyone thinks or does with this. It doesn't affect me whatsoever, and it's probably going to help people, dude. You know, and I bet you some people might implement that system, or at least take it into consideration and go, you know what, maybe I'm a bit shit with my spending too. Like, dude, do you even have $1,000 in your bank account right now that's disposable? No. Well, maybe you need to make some changes as of this podcast now. Go read The Barefoot Investor. Go watch that Netflix video, that Netflix series that just came out too, which everyone should watch, because I'll tell you what it's called, because I started watching it the other day, and it gives you a bit of humility too, because it makes you realize that people are struggling financially. We're all in the gym. Most people have got some money, bro. They're like, you know, they got their shit together, or they're like, they got enough money to have a gym membership and stuff. But it's called Get Smart with Money. This thing here, Get Smart with Money there.
Yep.
All right. Watch that. And man, there's freaking people who are working 3 jobs that can't pay their bills. They're struggling, you know, they're on the streets. Can you still hear me? Because my
loud and clear. Yeah, loud and clear, Johnny. Yeah, we'll start to wrap up, Johnny. But I want to ask you a little bit more around Neverhome. We've hinted at it throughout the podcast, and you mentioned the motto is "Inspire the uninspired." You obviously were hanging around Ben Francis and Lewis Morgan at this stage, but what inspired you to start Neverhome?
I just always wanted to do it. I thought I wanted to make my own clothing line when I was 16. I was in back of my dad's car, and I thought, I want to make gym singlets that motivating with some quotes on them. And then I just eventuatedly and just did it. So I just actually did what I wanted to do, and I stuck at it. So it was just something I wanted to do as a kid. And I was inspired by, I saw people wearing clothes, and I go, well, they're just humans. They were just born on the world, and they're like me. So I can do it. And I just believed in it. And
I was saying like Gymshark, I think you've found the kind of perfect blend between guys that are into the gym and lift and like aesthetics, because they fit like properly for how somebody who lifts, because we know how hard it is to buy clothes once you get a bit of a chest and a small waist and some big quads.
Man, I was struggling to find clothes that look good. I was so picky. I'm like, fuck, like it's too big. It's too I've got a different shaped body. It was so hard. And then the shit I've got, like, you haven't got the shorts yet, right? Wait till my shorts sell out. Every time I drop them, they sell out, right? Because I spend so much time getting them right. So it shows your quads. You got to have the right length, the right fabric. You have to squat in them. Everything about them is perfection, because it's what I wanted. I made the clothes that I wanted to wear, and it happens to be that most guys like and appreciate. So I just put effort into it. So I just spent, it's trial and error, stuff that we're going to like, bro. So it's really made for the people that go to the gym or aspire to. It's flattering, you know. It's sexy.
Yeah,
and it's a cool name.
Yeah, it is a really cool name. Where did that come from?
I was thinking of a name. I didn't know what to call it. I met a guy out one night, and his name was Tarek Neverhome on Facebook. And I'm like, fuck, that's a cool name, bro. And he goes, change your name to Johnny Starr Neverhome. I'm like, sweet. It was the catchiest shit. And then I was with my mate Craig, and I'm like, dude, we got to think of a name for this brand, because that's a very hard. If you get a brand name right, you're set. And Craig goes, dude, the name's there right all along, Neverhome. I'm like, that's the greatest name in the world. It can mean so much to so many people. We're always out. We're doing stuff. We're never home. And that was it, bro. Like that, it just came to us, and it took off from there. People tattoo it on themselves, dude, around the world. You know, that's why we made the podcasts, because again, I wanted people to listen to great music, to train to for an hour and give back. I wanted to give. And it's a law of reciprocation. You give and you get tenfold back. So, man, these podcasts have had hundreds of thousands of downloads because I spend 9 months making them. You know, they're not shit. They're good.
Yeah, the tunes are incredible. And that was when podcasts weren't these interview kind of chat conversations. They were actually just compilations of music. And like, we're on 17 now? Something like that?
18 is going to drop soon. See, the
Oh,
first podcast I did went to world #1 in the world. Me, Bubba Vici and Tiesto. Session 1. I'll show you the stats. I had the #1 podcast in the world. No one, like, people don't even believe this shit, but that's how long I've been doing it for. So the brand is about helping people look good, making good clothes, and providing good content and inspiring people. It's about the message. It's not about the cotton and the fabric. Like you, but why do you like the brand? What do you like about it?
I looked up to your physique for such a long time, and when you released like the t-shirts in like 2014, I got them just before Christmas. My brother and I got the original Neverhome t-shirt, and we got the white cut off and the black cut off. I've still got the black cut off because it still fits really well. The t-shirt I outgrew it a little bit. I put on some. I made some gains in the last 8 years.
I'll send you another one. Yeah.
But no, like
yeah, that's good, man.
Again, one of the reasons that I was like attracted to follow you, Johnny, was you have the career, you work in sales, you work in real estate, you're very talkative, you're very friendly, and you do the fitness stuff on the side. I think sometimes it's easier to relate to somebody that does that, like myself, than it is to relate to somebody who full-time goes to the gym and like that's their only thing, so to speak. I think because Neverhome encapsulated the fact that I was on the road with my sales career, I was training when I could, I was doing bits, I was active. That spoke to me a lot more than necessarily just a standard fitness brand.
It's relatable. That's a really good point. Like, dude, you're in crazy shape and you do your full-time job. Like it's possible, but if you want it bad enough, like you can get that physique. It is like there's a few that do it, but that aren't professional bodybuilders. Like you can get that physique. A lot of these people that compete at the local shows, they've got normal jobs, dude, but they put a bit more effort into it. They're passionate. So anyone can definitely do it if they just give it enough time and dedication. So
Agreed,
I love
Johnny.
what you just told me, bro. I appreciate that.
No worries. I think Neverhome strikes me as an opportunity to leave a legacy, Johnny, and I think you're working hard to do that. What do you hope people say about you when you're gone?
Well, I want the brand to be able to help the homeless because they're never home. Like literally, they're literally the brand, right? So, because I have some stock that sits there, and I thought I don't want to discount it and sell it for cheap. I'd rather. So we've got to make some food. Me and some boys from the gym and go to where these homeless people are. Give them the leftover stock. Let them wear some good clothes and feed them. And this is not. And yet, I want people to see how fucking good we've got it. We got it so good, bro. I can talk to you now live in the UK and we're talking about health and fitness and being shredded but really, man, there's some homeless people out there that are struggling. I want to help. I need to build this brand up big enough where we could actually help change some lives, get people off the streets and inspire people too. It needs to be more than just making money, bro. That doesn't fulfill me. Me having a couple Ferraris and millions of dollars it's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. It's like, how can we help that guy that's like just had a hard run in life, hit rock bottom, and man, there must be a way. So I'm trying to figure out the best way I can do that, where this can be scalable enough where, hey, we can actually make a difference. That'll make me feel good, bro. So it's like Johnny leaves. Okay, Johnny passed away. Man, he's actually made a difference. Yeah, like, dude, if I die a billionaire, you're not going to give a fuck. Like, you won't really care. Like, who cares? Like, it's because it's something I had. Like, yeah, heaps are not shit. But if someone died and they were a philanthropist and really helped a lot of people, dude, that's someone you remember, and I want that. That's my ego talking, wanting to help people. That's cool. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, the ego can do so many different things. It can help keep us in shape. It can help us work hard. It can make us be unpleasant to people as well. But when we channel it in the right ways, it can be truly powerful, Johnny. And that's a great note for us to wrap up on. If people want to continue the conversation with you, Johnny, where should they head towards?
Man, just hit me up on Instagram, Johnny_Starr. You can contact me on my website. Just go to Neverhome. There's a contact page there. That's pretty much the only way you can contact me, bro. But thanks, man. That was fun. Was that informative? Was that okay?
Johnny, I loved it. Thank you so much for your time, man. And
thank you, bro.
I'm looking forward to continue seeing you live this really happy, positive version of yourself, which is bringing a lot of other people along with you. And I want to say thank you to the listeners as well for tuning in. And I'll be back to speak to you all again very, very soon.
Peace out. There's the city of Melbourne, baby. Look at that. There it is right there. How good's that? See you, Ledge.